boys and girls, it's Colin back again. Today we're going to meet Adele. Adele's a town planner. Adele loves to sing, so we thought we would sing this wee song for Adele. Yes, just before she tells us all about building a house, or can we or cannot we build a house? Because there might be some restrictions. Here we go, get ready to sing. Thanks, Adele. Amy's favourite singer, Adele. Yes, 3, 2, 1.
Looking out, it's a great big world. Where do I go? How do I fit in? Gotta keep this one thing on my mind.
There she is.
Make her all the universe is on my side. And if God is for me, who can be against me? God is for me, who can be against me? He is my strength, he is my friend forever. God is for me, who can be against me? Looking out, it's a great big world. Where do I go? How do I fit in? Gotta keep this one thing on my mind. Make her all the universe is on my side. And if God is for me, who can be against me? God is for me, who can be against me? He is my strength, he is my friend forever. God is for me, who can be against me? When I just don't understand, God is for me. When life doesn't go the way I planned, God is for me. When I just don't understand, God is for me. When life doesn't go the way I planned, God is for me. Here we go! Sing it up, everybody! If God is for me, who can be against me? God is for me, who can be against me? He is my strength, he is my friend forever. God is for me, who can be against me? God is for me, who can be against me?
Brilliant. Okay, thank you so much, Adele. And we're going to learn about how to build a house and this about town planning. Here we go. G'day, boys and girls. Today for assembly we are with Adele.
Hi.
And Adele is a town planner. And I often wondered, what is a town planner? Adele, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Colin.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Do you want to say hello to the boys and girls?
Hi, boys and girls.
Adele's a mother of 3 beautiful children, but she also has a full-time job as a town planner. Adele, what is a town planner?
Well, basically, we deal with planning applications. So I work for like a local council, and so you can't just decide to go and build a house and just start building the next day. You have to apply. You have to go to an architect and get plans drawn up of what you want to build, and then you have to come to us in the planning office and submit your plans, and then we'll look at them, and we have loads of these policies and guidelines and things that we have to use to determine whether you would be allowed to build your house. So we would deal with houses, or if you want to build a farm shed, or maybe you're a farmer that wants to build a big chicken house, then you'd have to apply through us for planning permission for that.
But if I buy a big field, why can I not just build a big chicken house?
Because you're in our beautiful Northern Ireland countryside, so we want to make sure that it doesn't just be covered in houses and things that maybe don't look that nice or don't blend in to the countryside. So then you have to come and apply through us. And plus, you know, you might be a field that could flood, and you mightn't realise that. So then we have all these special flood maps and things, so we can check maybe if the land would flood, and we could tell you, or we could put into place things that would maybe protect it from flooding, or maybe there's like special wildlife on your field that could be protected, or things like that we would need to look out for to keep you safe. And also you might want to build a house right next to a neighbour, and they might not be very happy about you building a big house there, so we would have to ask or consult all the neighbours, or send them a letter to say there's a planning application in, and then they would have the right to come in and maybe object to it or give their views on it. So there's lots of things that we have to consider before we can just build something.
Yeah. Very good. Is a lot of your work done on the computer now, Adele?
Most of it's on the computer. We would get, actually don't have any here unfortunately, but we would get plans submitted on paper, but then a lot of our work is done on our computer systems, and we do a lot of work on maps. So if we want, we go out on sites and we drive around in our car, but also if we want to check something, we have all these aerial view maps, so we can zoom right into a site and we can see what's around it. We can see and we can measure how close they are to their neighbours, or these are our flood maps, so we can look and we can see, is the site in a floodplain, is it going to flood? And then there's loads of different types of maps that we can use. So most of our stuff is from our desk, where we can look and research.
So is one objection to do with wildlife?
Oh yes. So there's a lot of things to protect our wildlife, and there's a lot of special areas. So you couldn't just go and build a house in the middle of the Mourne Mountains, obviously, because it's a very high scenic area, and it would be well protected. And also, if you're going to replace a house, there might be bats living in it, so they're very protective of bats, and we have to make sure that if there's bats, that they could be removed before we would knock a house down and things like that. So there's lots of things you have to consider.
Adele, let's see, this is your pencil case.
This is my high-tech stationery set.
It says God's love amazes me. Does God help you in your work, Adele?
Oh yes, definitely. God helps me every day in my work.
In what way?
Well, I suppose, first of all, being a mummy of 3 children, it's very busy sometimes, and sometimes it's very stressful trying to get children out and then come back and start your day's work. So God just helps me in my everyday life, and if you've problems, and sometimes in my job we would deal with people that maybe aren't very happy about things that are being built or decisions that we've made. So sometimes you deal with a lot of complaints or conflicts. So
how do you communicate with people?
Oh, I have a little high-tech headset here.
Whoa!
So we do lots of meetings on our team, and this is my wee camera, so I can turn this on, and then I put my headset on, and I can talk to you, and I can normally see all my work colleagues here, and they'll have their cameras on. So we would have team meetings, because we're never in the office now because of the pandemic. We're working at home, so we can just talk away on my headset, and people can ring me through my computer.
Oh, when people ever get irritated talking to you?
Oh yeah, sometimes, yeah.
And how do you calm them down?
I just try to stay calm, and I suppose the Bible teaches us that we should be working as though we're working for the Lord, and sometimes I just have to remind myself of that. And because I'm a Christian, I want to try to be like Jesus in my work every day, so it's just staying calm and always trying to be polite to people and do my best and yeah. So.
And if there's one Bible story that helps you to relate to your work, which one would that be?
Well, I think because I'm a planning officer and because I deal with people building houses, it just reminds me of the parable that Jesus told of the wise man and the foolish man. So the foolish man, he didn't apply for planning permission and didn't go to his architect, and he just built his house on the sand. And obviously the wise man, he did come to the planning office and he got his planning application, and he had his good solid foundation, and they were both okay for a while, and their houses probably both looked lovely. But when the storm came, it was only the wise man whose house stood. And like our lives, we will probably all have difficult times or storms, and if we haven't got our rock, our foundation in Jesus, then we'll be like that house in the sand, and we'll will fall flat. So
Very good. You also work with the Boys Brigade, Adele?
I do, yes, I do. I work
You like
with all
working
the
with
wee
children?
boys. I love all the wee children, yeah.
That's
And I
good.
love teaching them about Jesus, so it's really important. Because I have 3 children of my own, I love just seeing children learn about Jesus.
So you've also got your own children, a wonderful husband, and a full-time job, and still more time to reach children for God.
A little bit.
That's really good. So we're talking there about the planning permission and town planning and rural development. And I used to think if I bought a field, I can build a house, build whatever I want, but you don't. There's rules and regulations and decisions have to be made. And in life, you just can't do what you want. As children, sometimes we think we can just do what we want, but in school you can't do what you want. There's rules, and there's rules within school, and rules within home, and rules within the Bible that God expects. For example, the 10 Commandments. He says, if you love me, keep my commandments, or obey my rules, or trust in the Lord and do good. And Adele mentioned the parable that Jesus told, and that rock, the solid rock, that rock is Jesus, like Adele said. And Adele's built her life upon the Lord Jesus. So even though she's a busy mum and she's a busy job, she said how much she relies God to help her in her job. What advice would you give to children who want to be a town planner, Adele? Would you advise them to run the other way?
No, I really enjoy it. I think if you, I suppose I became a town planner because I love different places, and I love, if I go to a city exploring maybe the old buildings, and I just see the value in preserving those things and protecting our environment and making sure that we can plan for the future of our towns. So I think you have to kind of have a love for that sort of thing. But yeah, it's an interesting job most of the time, and I like getting out and about and exploring different places, and you do meet different people, and so it's...
Adele has one of those friendly faces, nice for meeting people. When you come all stressed out to build the house, you meet somebody like Adele, it makes you want to really build your house. But you talked about preserving for the future, and that's what life's all about. That's why the gospel, the Bible is so important. God sent His Son Jesus to preserve us for the future. We can spend forever and ever eternity with Him by believing in the Lord Jesus and ask Him to forgive us, to save us, and to reconcile us, to bring us back to God. So even as a town planner, you can learn so much about God and so much about the future and so much about building your life upon the Lord Jesus. Adele, I'm conscious of taking up your time.
Oh,
I'm sure
all
you
right.
have lots
I'm
of work
very
to do.
busy, yeah. All right, thank you, Colin.
Thank you, Adele, so much for all that information about town planning and restrictions and how to build, where to build, and why you can't build, etc. Here we go. God's love is Robert and Adele. Yes, here we go. God's love is so wonderful. God's love is so wonderful. God's love is so wonderful. Oh, wonderful love.
So high,
You can't get over it, so deep. You can't get under it, so wide. You can't get around it. Oh, wonderful love.
let us sing it again for all that He has given us.
Sweethearts, yes. Who's that, Bunny? Okay, let's sing it again, everybody. God's love. Come on, Robert and Adele. We parents, love birds. God's love is so wonderful. God's love is so wonderful. God's love is so wonderful. Oh, wonderful love. So high, you can't get over it, so deep. You can't get under it, so wide. You can't get around it. Oh, wonderful love.
Thank the wonderful Lord.
Wonderful. Thank you so much again, Adele, for teaching us and telling us all about planning and about town planning in the town and out on the outskirts as well. Have a good day, everyone. Thank you so much. Bye.